Shalom, Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on, serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai, shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers who are out here teaching this truth. And always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai's feet when you read the scriptures. All right, I want to talk to y'all about this this video that I've helped circulate. I'm not sitting here saying that it's circulating like I'm not part of it, but it's a video with a guy speaking on quote-unquote Elder Rakah from GOCC being at the Grammys with a Jewish friend. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I used to go to parties in the music business, very much unlike the Grammys. I don't think I would ever in a million years doing what I was doing in the music business. All I was a promoter. I hung up posters. I was street team. I was never a high-ranking member or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I went to album release parties because I earned my way in them by hanging up posters. The fuck? My windshield wipers are frozen? But anyway, I say all that to say, you know, we have to, because we don't like Bubble-Eyed Blackfish, I'm sorry, Elder Rakah, I'm very sorry. But because we don't like him, we automatically take that he's doing wickedness. I'm going to say this. The one part that gets me is the Jewish part. Why is a Hebrew Israelite hanging out with an Amalekite? If nothing else, those people have very blatantly, and I'm only saying blatantly because of we're Israelites. We're the very fact that we're calling ourselves Hebrew Israelites should tell us that those people are not your friends. Why are you hanging out with them? That's the only thing that I find weird, or not weird, because there's other things. I'm somebody who's been, I would say, in the industry, but not to any high level where I got to see anything. Like, technically, I've been to parties where, you know, Bad Boy album release parties, two of them. But it was album release parties that are open to not necessarily the public, but people within the music business. And like I said, it was more of a, hey, I did labor for them by hanging up posters and handing out flyers. Never once, you know, was around any freak offs or any shit like that. But analyzing, you know, what I know, right? He was there, and he was there with a Jewish guy that said he was his best friend. That right there is suspect. Not so much that he's there, but he's there with a Jewish best friend. You know, if somebody invited half of you to go to the Grammys, an award ceremony, shit, I'd like to see what the fuck is going on in there. I'd like to be behind the scenes somewhat. Not too far in behind the scenes, because then people start questioning whether you're part of it. You know, but yeah, it's interesting to know. It's a fucking satanic ritual. Let me see what the fuck they do there, so I can report better to my brothers and sisters out here in the streets, right? So it's not so much of him being there. It's the circumstance. Who the fuck is this Amalekite? From what I'm hearing, he's a fucking demon, his damn self. And he calls you his BFF? And if I'm not, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he is the top elder of GOCC. I know that the Simeonite brother, I don't even know if he's still with them, but Gabar. I don't know if he's still with them. But from my understanding, the top elder in GOCC is Elder, I don't want to call him Elder Rakah because we have an Elder Rakah. but GOCC's Rakah. So it's just weird. Like we're seeing, don't be surprised, man. Listen, and you know what? Let me tell y'all something. Y'all already know that I am no longer in support or I'll say have any friendship with Gorilla, but he would do worse. He would show up and show out. He would come over there, dress the fuck up, and you know what I'm saying? Because you see him, he's kind of pretty much just trying to be famous in the world, you know. But you know, this video is mostly given perspective because I have been in the music business at a very low level, and it would intrigue me if somebody was to be like, yo, you want to hit the Grammys up? I would go. I would, you know, to see what the fuck is going on. You know, not to partake in anything or to worship Satan, but to really be like, yo, all right, we've been saying that this is a satanic ritual for years, and I would more than likely not be taking pictures like that or posting them. You know, I don't know. I would. It's one of those things where I probably would know what I do if I cross that bridge when I get there. But I don't think that I would be sitting there fucking posting, and much less would I be BFFs with a fucking Amalekite. There is not one Amalekite in the world that can even call me a friend. I remember when I used to work at Stop and Shop, all the Amalekites that used to come in there, and some of them used to say slick shit to me. Like one time, one of them was like, "Are you even Jewish?" Because I used to have this big shield of David. Some of you remember it. And I would say, no, I'm an Israelite. You know, and well, this was one instance out of many, but he was like, is that the group that thinks that they're the true Israelites? Like, yeah. Another time it was two chicks that looked Puerto Rican, actually. And I was like, they asked me about the shield of David. I was like, yeah, I'm an Israelite. We're the real Jews. She was like, does that make us fake Jews? I was like, I don't know who you are. Y'all look Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they were Russian. A lot of Russians, for some reason, seem to look Puerto Rican. Not Mexican, not Dominican. They actually look like they could pass for Puerto Rican. Those might be the Japhite babies. Left from, you know, when Japhet ruled Europe. You know, but yeah, just to kind of wrap up what I'm saying, you know, he's so-called Elder Rakah. I mean, GOCC has been soft on the nations. They've always welcomed nations. You know, you've seen Edomites, potential Edomites. You know, you never know. They could be Jake. Like, the big difference, though, between GOCC, among other things, but as far as our position on the Gentiles cannot be saved. The natural, real Gentiles cannot be saved. GOCC believes that actual heathens can be saved. What we believe is, you know, if you see a so-called white person around us, If you see somebody that is a potential, an Arab or something, it's because we believe that they are Israelites that are scattered. Like on my Facebook, I have 2 white people. That would have been unimaginable when I was in the house of Israel. I have 2 white people that are on my Facebook as friends. And they are 2 white people that I personally believe they really could be Jake. One of them is a former manager of mine at Optimum Cablevision. She's Portuguese, and then there's this Polish guy that I went to high school with, who, when I tell you, even back then, he was different from other white guys that was trying to be down. I never heard anybody try to say, oh, he was trying to be down. I've never heard that about him. But just going back to what I'm saying, y'all, these Grammys and shit, I'm not gonna suspect him just because he's there. The main thing to suspect here, in my opinion, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, the main thing is who the F is this Jewish guy? Because I heard he's in the business. High ranking at that. And calling him his BFF. So here you are, a leader of this Hebrew Israelite congregation. To one extent or another, you preach that Black, Hispanic, and Native American people are Israelites. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. They still teach that. They just teach that the nations shall be saved. That's to my knowledge. I mean, what else do they? I don't think that they believe that the nations are part of us. Maybe a scattering of the nations, which is still incorrect. The only nation that's going to be saved by the deliberate salvation of the Most High is going to be the nation of Israel. Anybody else, they may be spared for captivity. But if you think you're going to see Edomites in them spaceships, you're out of your fucking mind. You really are out of your fucking mind. You got to be if you read the Bible. You reading the same Bible I am? But, it's just one of those things. It is what it is. There has to be a 2/3. I'm sad sometimes when I think about it. But there just has to be a 2/3. There's no way around that. If you knew better, you do better. These men go back. Rakah from GOCC, he should be my elder. From what I understand, he go back to One West. If I'm not mistaken, not mistaken, I assume Philly, because that's when I first started hearing about him. He was part of that group that got ran down on by Comfy and him. If I recall correctly, he was there. Because Israelites really get savage over these beliefs. Like, listen, let's teach the Bible. We ain't got to run down on no camps. We're the only ones that can teach the Bible. Fuck you. Everybody in America has the right to teach the Bible. It's just who's right or wrong. The Lord is going to separate. We can only expose when we see some fuck shit. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. And listen, correct me if I'm going off, but I'm not knocking him for the fact that he was at the Grammys. If he wants to do what I would do out of curiosity, just look and see what the fuck is going on, so I can go back and tell my people. But the problem is that Jewish BFF, like, you know damn well those are not your friends. If there's one damn heathen that is evil, and he's not friends with a small hat. I didn't see no yarmulke on that Edomite. Because I've been maintaining for years, I think that there is a hierarchy even among Jewish Amalek, right? And that hierarchy has the ones that actually wear the yarmulkes, the small hats. Those are the low level, the ones that are not necessarily as low as me, but those aren't the ones that we should be mad at the most. We should be mad at the ones that run the banking industry. Anyway, I gotta go. Shalom.